News 12 SG, the Americas. Tensions spike in the Western Hemisphere as the U.S. signals land strikes against Mexican cartels, following President Trump's threats to curb their operations and secure borders, moves rippling through energy and commodity markets amid the ongoing Venezuela intervention. Wall Street dips slightly with the S&P 500 down 0.4%, Nasdaq off 0.6%, and Dow slipping 0.3%, driven by tariff uncertainty after a Supreme Court ruling limited Trump's trade tools. In late AM, Venezuela seized 50 million barrels of crude bolster stabilization efforts, with proceeds earmarked for anti-corruption aid. Hapag-Lloyd clinches a major carrier acquisition, outbidding Maersk in a 6-month battle complicated by Israeli interests, boosting global shipping capacity. Lockheed Martin and RTX shares surge on U.S.-Iran strikes, with analysts eyeing air and naval contracts as munitions deplete rapidly. Bank of America and Citigroup brace for Basel III endgame rules due before late March, after Fed confirmation on capital hikes. Europe. Tensions escalate over Ukraine as NATO warns of Russian troop buildups near Poland, sparking fears of energy supply disruptions and driving oil prices up 3%. Markets waver on the news, with traders eyeing safe haven assets. European indices dipped slightly overnight. FTSE 100 off 0.4%, DAX down 0.7%, and Euro Stoxx 50 futures pointing to a 1% drop at open, led by the geopolitical jitters. ASML reported Q4 earnings beating estimates at €8.2 billion revenue, but shares fell 2% on cautious 2026 guidance amid chip demand slowdowns. Siemens Energy sealed a €1.2 billion deal to supply turbines for offshore wind farms in the North Sea, boosting its stock 4%. LVMH announced 15% sales growth to €92 billion for 2025, fueled by Asia recovery, though luxury peers like Richemont lag behind. The Middle East. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran intensify, killing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei over the weekend and drawing in Hezbollah from Lebanon, with Iranian attacks now hitting Saudi refineries and Qatar's LNG facilities, sparking fears of broader war that's slamming global energy markets. Oil prices have spiked over 15% as Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, halting a fifth of world supplies, while natural gas surges to multi-year highs after Qatar shut its Ras Laffan complex. Regional indices like Tadawul and ADX tumbled 2 to 4% yesterday. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund inked a $5 billion green energy deal with UAE's Masdar for solar projects in the Gulf. Qatar Energy launched a $2 billion IPO for its LNG expansion amid the chaos. ADX-listed Aldar Properties announced a $1.2 billion M&A buyout of Dubai developer Emaar. Asia-Pacific. Iran's war in the Strait of Hormuz has triggered the worst Asia-Pacific sell-off in 19 months, with South Korea's Kospi plunging 7.2% to 57.91.91 as oil spikes toward $100 and Qatar halts LNG production, slamming energy-dependent economies from Japan to India. The MSCI Asia-Pacific Index tumbled 3.3% Tuesday, pushing weekly losses to 5.1%, driven by shipping halts and tanker strandings. Nikkei, Hang Seng, and ASX 200 all shed over 3%, with Kospi leading the rout on energy shock fears. China slapped export curbs on Subaru and Sumitomo Heavy Industries, escalating its squeeze on Japan's defense supply chain after Takaichi's Taiwan comments. U.S.-China trade talks advanced to mid-March, eyeing Boeing plane buys and soybean deals ahead of a Trump-Xi summit. The yuan rallied as the People's Bank signaled comfort with its rise before the National People's Congress.